What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a deck that pretty much everybody has done. Everybody knew that this deck would be really powerful, and so it was just kind of a, well, I held off as long as I could and was like, screw it, I guess I'll do it. And that is a deck centered around Ultra Necrozma-GX and Malamar. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, I talked about this a little bit in my best of three, well, quote-unquote best of three, with Aura Bomb over Forbidden Light decks, and it was kind of a whether you guys think that Ultra Necrozma-GX is better and is more relevant, more powerful in the meta, or do you think that Necrozma, just regular Necrozma from Burning Shadows, is more relevant or powerful in the meta? Which do you think is better, and which do you think will have the most success? Now, obviously, both of them rely on discarding Psychic Energy, and both of them can use high counts of Malamar in order to be able to recur that Psychic Energy. So, I mean, in that case, they're the same. But what differs is, first of all, different typings. Regular Necrozma is Psychic, and Ultra Necrozma is a Dragon. Second of all, is the damage output they have. Photon Geyser does 20 plus 80 for each Psychic Energy. So with just 2 Psychic Energies discarded from Ultra Necrozma, you're doing 180 damage, whereas with regular Necrozma, it's 10 plus 60. So, I mean, with a 3 energy discard is only 190, whereas a 3 energy discard for Ultra Necrozma would be 260. I think I did that math right. So Ultra Necrozma hits harder and for less energy. There's also a difference in the GX attacks, whereas regular Necrozma can hit for 100 damage to each of your Pokemon's EX and GX, whereas Ultra Necrozma has Sky Scorching Light with just 6 damage counters if there are 6 prizes or less between you and your opponent. And finally is the attack cost. Ultra Necrozma needs Metal, whereas regular Necrozma needs Psychic, just plain Psychic, in order to be able to function. So there are differences, and on paper it seems like Ultra Necrozma would be better apart from that Metal, just that Metal cost. And honestly, I'm kind of on the fence. I think that they both have a place in the meta. Regular Necrozma is more consistent, in my opinion, because, I mean, okay, I use consistent very loosely, because it's relatively easy to draw into the Metal in this deck, because, I mean, I've tried this deck out, and I have had no problem getting the Metal when I needed it. However, this deck is so reliant on those 4 metals, and also it usually doesn't have any methods of getting the metal back, of recurring the metal, so once they're in the discard pile, they're pretty much there for good. So, I don't know. I'm kind of torn between the two. If I had to lean one way or the other, I think Ultra Necrozma might be a little bit better, just because, I mean, with regular Necrozma, you're hitting for Psychic with your main attacker, while Ultra Necrozma can already hit for that with the Dawnwings Necrozma. And so basically you just cover your bases a little bit more, and it just hits a little bit harder. So I'm honestly not sure. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Ultra Necrozma is better with Malamar, or do you think regular Necrozma is better, and where do you think both of those decks fit into the meta? Would really like to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this topic in particular. But anyway, onto the deck. Like I said, it is centered around Ultra Necrozma-GX and Malamar, and you guys know what this deck does. I mean, everybody has done it. It's been a deck that has been talked about a ton. So, I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that it's like, well, I mean, yeah, everybody's doing it. I might as well do my take on it. And the thing that I'm doing a little bit differently is a lot of people are running Marshadow in this deck, which, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that is definitely a very, very strong tech card and is probably a tech card that should be used over Celesteela. But I don't know. I kind of liked Celesteela because when, I believe this was either from Flavorful Pineapple or Face Palm Tree, one of the two. I mean, both of those guys have been awesome for giving me deck ideas and deck lists, so I just want to shout out both of them. I don't remember which one exactly was the one that gave me the idea to throw Celesteela in here, but I've actually kind of liked Celesteela as a backup attacker to Ultra Necrozma, because you might notice that Ultra Necrozma is weak to Fairy, while Celesteela hits like Gardevoir super effectively, and also only needs a single metal energy to use. And for whatever reason, when I was testing this deck out, I ran into Gardevoir quite frequently. I mean, it's not even a deck that's particularly relevant lately, but for whatever reason I kept running into it, so I was like, screw it, we're going with the Celesteela version, and I honestly have been okay with it ever since. So basically, what the whole thing is, you attach Psychic Energy to Ultra Necrozma, use Photon Geyser, discard the Psychic Energy, invade with Dawnwing's Necrozma, retreat out, or invade with that, attach the energy back to Ultra Necrozma, and then retreat out. Well, another thing that you could do is have a 4/4 of Inkay and Malamar. 3/3, in my opinion, is a little bit low, but I had a couple different techs that I wanted to show off in this deck, and so instead of just going with probably the best version, I wanted to show off all the tech options that you could put in this deck, and also I wanted to run a little heavier line of energy just because that's me and I'm paranoid about energy, so that's why I only have a 3/3. Definitely run a 4/4, just I wanted to show you all the different options that I decided to go with for this deck. So I'm just going to go ahead and start with the Pokemon and go down the line. One Oranguru to kind of keep us from being as disrupted by N in the late game, and also another attacker. This is a way to get around things like Alolan Ninetales and Hoopa, just be able to hit those things super not super effectively, what am I saying? Able to knock those things out, I believe, in one hit with Psychic if they are fully powered up. Just a way to work around those that isn't Malamar, where Malamar gets one shot and can only two shot with Psychic Sphere, because let's be real, 60 damage for 3 energy is absolutely atrocious. Never attack with Malamar unless you absolutely have to. I mean, that's bad. If this was on like a GX attack or a Pokemon that didn't have as amazing of ability, I would say that Malamar is absolute trash, but it's basically just like Pokemon saying, hey, we're going to give Malamar this really, really good ability, but you're not going to be able to attack with it. You're only going to use it for its ability, so you better be ready for situations otherwise. Like, you should not plan to attack with Malamar, because, I mean, that's just awful. 3 energy for 60, oof. Ooh, that stinks. That really stinks quite a bit. The 3 of the Ultra Necrozmas, because I mean, main attacker in the deck, just Photon Geyser be able to hit for a ton of damage. Just attach and attack. I mean, you really only realistically need 2 Psychic Energies at a time in order to be able to get the knockouts that you need. Nothing resists Dragon, so you don't have to worry about... Oh, nothing off the top of my head resists Dragon. I don't think anything does. So just being able to hit for 180, 190, or 210... with the Fighting Fury Belt or Choice Band are all magic numbers. So yeah, definitely just hit for what you need to with Necrozma for 2 energy. That's plenty sufficient. Celesteela-GX for the Gardevoir matchup, just be able to attach energy to it and then one-shot it. Yes, Gardevoir can take advantage of the fact that you have to have a decent amount of energy on Celesteela in order to be able to one-shot Gardevoir. I think you need at least 3. You need at least 3 in a Choice Band to knock out Gardevoir, or you need 4 energy, and Gardevoir, of course, can take advantage of that and knock Celesteela out in return, but it's just kind of a, okay, just going to go with Celesteela early and see how that works out. I mean, it's kind of cool in the matches that I've played with it, and yeah, I know it is exploitable to Gardevoir, like I said, but at the same time, I mean, it's worked for me so far, so I'm just kind of going with it. 2 of the Dawnwing's Necrozma, not only for the Invade and Retreat, but also Dark Flash. This covers the Psychic-type weaknesses that we might run up against, like even just the Mirror Match. Like the Mirror Match against just regular Necrozma, Dawnwings is the MVP, just being able to one-shot the Necrozma GXs very, very easily, and then also just other Psychic-weak Pokemon like Buzzwole, which could otherwise give this deck a little bit of a hard time. 3/3 of Inkay and Malamar. Like I said, you want to run 4/4 just because these things are so important. But just to show off the text that I wanted to put in the deck, I did not quite have room for 4/4. So that's just kind of what I went with. As you can see, there are no Ultra Ball, which is less than ideal. But I mean, you guys already know that Ultra Ball goes into this deck. This is really just kind of trying to do something a little bit different than what everybody else is doing. I mean, I could just go with the standard deck of Ultra Necrozma, Malamar, just have like 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Mysterious Treasure, but I decided let's change things up. Let's try to be a little bit different, and so that's what I went for. 3 Lele, because Lele into Brigette is the ultimate start for this deck. Just be able to start with a bunch of Inkay on board so we can evolve them as quickly as possible. 1 Escape Rope, just to be able to get out of the active spot. Just really, like if we start with Celesteela or Oranguru, we don't want to retreat those guys out, so Escape Rope's able to get those out of there. 2 Field Blower, because Choice Bands and Garbodor are annoying, even though I don't ever see Garbodor anymore, knock on wood. 3 Mysterious Treasures as our method of searching. Yes, we can't search for Oranguru or Celesteela with either of these, but I mean, I found that I can draw into them when I need it, and they aren't uber important for the strategy. I mean, they're important, but they're not as important to where I would want to run more Ultra Ball. But I mean, again, run 4 Ultra Ball, run 4 Mysterious Treasure and 4 Ultra Ball. That's absurdly powerful, just an insane amount of search. But again, everybody already knows that Ultra Ball is what you want to run in this deck, so I just kind of got rid of those because it's already a known thing and wanted to show off other cards that you can use. 1 Rescue Stretcher is Method of Recursion because you want to have the Psychic Energy in the discard pile. 3 Altar of the Moon. I know a lot of people are running Parallel City, which I can actually completely agree with, but at the same time, I mean, just gives free retreat. That way you don't need the Float Stone for the Dawnwing's Necrozma. Just kind of one of those cool things where you can attach like a Choice Band or something and still have free retreat out. 2 Acerola is something that I've been running that I've not really seen. It's a way of recurring Ultra Necrozma and kind of keeping our metal energy in play, because Ultra Necrozma is actually really bulky. 190 HP, 230 with a Fighting Fury Belt is very difficult to KO, so having Acerola be able to recur that Ultra Necrozma and the metal energy can be very important for later in the game, so that's why I'm running a couple of those. 2 Brigette, like I said, because Brigitte's the best start. 4-3-3 of Cynthia and Sycamore, just because it's the line I'm comfortable with. Is same thing with 3 Guzma. 2-2 of Choice Band and Fighting Fury Belt, maybe cut down a couple of these to fit in the Ultra Balls or more Malamar, and then 4-8 of Metal and Psychic. I'm running high numbers of both, well, relatively high numbers of both, just because you guys know me, you know I'm paranoid about not drawing into the energy I want when I need it. But yeah, that is the deck. I've rambled for way too long. Let's go ahead and see this deck in action. Alrighty, we have found one against 4 Lives Dragon with a Dark, Lightning, and Psychic deck, so honestly, considering I see Dark, I'm thinking Zoroark, so I have no idea what my opponent's running, probably Zoroark and something else, and I start off with actually all things considered, I start off with a pretty phenomenal hand. I mean, I'll get a Ultra Necrozma, I'll get an Inkay, I'll get a Dawnwing's Necrozma, and then I have a Lele to get a Sycamore to throw something into the discard pile, and I even get another Ultra Necrozma, so let's go ahead and play the Lele. Actually, you know what? Let's just go ahead and play that down. I think 2 Malamar should be good enough for this game. So let's go ahead and Lele for a Sycamore. I want to throw the Psychic Energy in the discard pile as quickly as possible. And there it goes. Hopefully draw into a metal, which I do. And actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and put it on this one. Yeah, let's put it on the benched one so that it's not in danger of getting like confused, poison, really just whatever. Whatever my opponent can do, I just will still have Whirlwind. Your opponent switches their active one of their benched. Well, either way, if he attacks this active one, that works for me, and actually my opponent just loses because he Whirlwinds. Well, I get to go straight into my other Ultra Necrozma, the one with the metal energy on it, and then knock it out with a Photon Geyser. So yeah, super quick game 1. If my opponent hadn't Whirlwinded, I think they actually might have had a chance to make this more of a game, but either way, I mean, Ultra Necrozma, just 2 attachments, able to hit for 100 damage, and we take those. So yeah, super quick game 1. Let's go ahead and try to find another one. Alrighty, we have found another one against Luca Wave, I'm guessing. Luca Wave, Drave, I don't know. 100 with, looks kind of like a mirror match, all things considered. Let's hope that, I mean, we get to go first, so that's pretty nice. And I start off with kind of an awful hand, actually. I mean, if I get an Ultra Ball, I can work with it, but otherwise my starting hand is really just not good. Hopefully the mulligan cards will help me out, and yeah, it's confirmed that this is going to be an Ultra Necrozma mirror. I mean, we didn't see any Malamar or anything like that, but we saw Metal and Psychic, and there's no Metal Pokemon. Oh, that's actually amazing. So the 2 cards that I get off that mulligan are Cynthia and Brigette. Well, I got the Cynthia off the mulligan, but then I get the Brigette off of the top deck. So yeah, I'm able to just do that, attach an energy to my Ultra Necrozma, and how do I want to do this? Let's Fighting Fury Belt this guy, Alter the Moon, and then I guess just end the turn, because I mean, worst case scenario, I'll be able to hit for 110 damage this coming turn, and yeah, in a very good spot. I mean, those 2 extra cards really did make all the difference in terms of being able to get something going this early on. My opponent is just going to Ultra Ball for his own Ultra Necrozma, and actually if he just leaves the Oranguru active... okay, so he attaches energy. I think what I'm going to try to do is just escape rope. Hopefully he doesn't play down anything else. Float stones and just passes his turn, so that's actually going to work out really, really well for me, because what I'm able to do is just energy at my Ultra Necrozma, escape rope in his Ultra Necrozma, go into mine, and then let Cynthia see if I can get a little bit more setup. I mean, ideally I'd be able to knock him out this turn, but unfortunately that does not appear to be the case. So let's Field Blower, get rid of his Float Stone, and then Photon Geyser. Yeah, Photon Geyser, hit his Ultra Necrozma for some decent damage and go from there. I mean, I'll be able to 2-hit KO it next turn, as long as I draw into a Psychic Energy, but I mean, I really should be able to, given how many I run in my deck. Another Float Stone comes down to the Oranguru. He can hit me for some good damage as well. Mysterious Treasure, okay. What's he gonna grab? Probably an Inkay would be my guess. So at the very... Huh, he forfeited. So my guess would be that once he Mysterious Treasured, he either found out that all of his Inkay were prized or all of his Malamar were prized, and he was just like, yeah, not going to bother with this one, so I'm just going to scoop. And I mean, I can't blame him. If I saw that all my Malamar were prized as well, I would probably just be clicking that X button really quickly. So, yeah, we've actually gotten 2 turn 2 attacks off with Ultra Necrozma, but, yeah, not satisfied. We need an actually good match. So I'm going to go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we found another one against Lucas 2 Aces with a... Quite frankly, looks kind of like the Ultra Necrozma Metagross deck that I used a while back, which would honestly be kind of cool, all things considered, if I'm able to run into that, because I have not run into that deck yet at all in this game. So, well, apart from myself playing it. So it'd be really cool to run into a deck that I haven't seen that I just used recently. So, but regardless, I'm kind of interested to see how this is gonna play out. We do lose the coin flip, unfortunately. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and see what we start with. We start off with some actual good stuff. I'd really like if I can get a Metal Energy, because I'll be able to bridge it for another Inkay, an Ultra Necrozma, and a Dawn Wings Necrozma. Okay, we see the Metal... Oh, we see Magnezone. Okay, never mind. It's not a Metagross deck. That would have made me very happy if it was. But sadly, it is not. So we're going to get a couple mulligan cards. Like I said, would really like to get a Metal or some form of energy. That way I can attach it to my Ultra Necrozma when I'm able to finally play that down with the Brigette. And yeah, so just starting off nicely. I mean, I have a very, very good starting hand. Like I said, my opponent is just going to play down something, not sure what. So, quite frankly, I mean, we see Magnezone, so we can safely assume that there is going to be a Duskmane. The Dragon, I was trying to figure out what that was for a while. I'm thinking that might be Dialga, just to have a different type in the deck. And my opponent's taken a very long time. I'm hoping they don't disconnect. Yeah, this is... Well, they took all that time to not play anything, so let's just go ahead and take that. And we get an energy, which I'm okay with. He starts with a Duskmane. So that's going to be... It's going to be somewhat annoying, meaning that I will have to Fighting Fury Belt up my Ultra Necrozma to take a one-hit knockout. However, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal to knock that thing out otherwise, because with Fighting Fury Belt, I will be able to knock out the Duskmane Necrozma in one hit with only 2 energy off of Photon Geyser from my Ultra Necrozma. And considering he needs 4 energy in order to do damage that would knock me out. So he's going to Lele. Odds are he is going to not let me keep this hand. I think he's definitely just going to go for an N, which, I mean, while I do like having my hand of 8 cards, I mean, having a hand of 6 is not the end of the world. Hopefully I will still be able to bridge it into something. And actually my opponent lets me keep my opening hand. which is phenomenal. I mean, honestly, even though Brigette, or Lele into Brigette is the ultimate start, I think if your opponent has a hand of 8, N is still the way to go, just to keep them from having such an obviously ideal setup, because in this case, I don't even have to play a Lele down. I can save Lele for later. I can save that bench spot for something else because my opponent did not end me out of my hand. So yeah, just another Duskmane, a Remoraid, and a Magnemite. Those Rainbow Rares, honestly, I don't like the Rainbow Rares just because you can... It's hard to tell what they are. You have to keep looking at them to try to figure out exactly what card they are. You can't just glance, but here we go. Let's go ahead and Cynthia... No, bad. That was not what I wanted. I wanted to Brigette. Oof. Wow, that is... I honestly think that's the first time I've ever used the you're about to play for a hand lower, so TCGO saving my butt right there. That was just me not paying attention to what I was clicking. And yeah, so you know what? Let's go ahead and escape. Do I want escape rope? Claw Slash can potentially knock out my Inkay. I think I'll just hold off on that for now. Just let my opponent... Because I don't think my opponent's going to have a DCE. The only way he can knock out my Ultra, or my Inkay, yeah, like I said, is if he had a... double colorless energy or a rare candy Magnezone, and considering his hand, I really didn't think that's what he had. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and escape rope out. All I need is a metal energy in order for my Ultra Necrozma to be able to attack. And so I think that's what I'm going to go for this coming turn, is just attacking with Ultra Necrozma. If he brings up Magnemite or Remoraid, I will be able to knock those things out. I really would like to be able to use Ultra Necrozma's GX attack right now. That'd be really nice because I'd be able to knock out both the Magnemite and the Remoraid immediately. But unfortunately, we can only use it when there's combined 6 prizes between us and our opponent, and I do not get a metal energy, unfortunately. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just play the psychic energy. I might as well just keep my attachments going. Do I want to play this onto Dawnwings? You know what? Yeah, because its GX attack can net me a one-hit KO on Dawnwings, and then I can just go for another attack the next turn. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Just make my opponent respect the Dawnwings that is on my bench. We see the Professor's Letter. He's getting 2 metal energy. I mean, my opponent's still getting an attachment every turn. Meteor Tempest will not quite be able to take the knockout on my Ultra Necrozma due to that extra 10 HP, which is, quite frankly, coming through really clutch right now. I'm going to get a Cynthia. I'm actually going to go ahead and Sycamore. Yeah, it gets rid of a Cynthia and a Guzma, but I just want the ability to draw into more, and this is phenomenal. I draw into 2 Malamar, which I'm able to take advantage of. Let's go ahead and Mysterious Treasure. Probably discard, yeah, let's discard one of my Field Blowers because my opponent isn't playing, my opponent's not going to be playing Garbodor in this deck. I mean, there's absolutely no room for it, and unfortunately there's no Psychic Energy in the discard pile for me to use Malamar immediately, but what I can do is attach the metal to this Ultra Necrozma, Photon Geyser, knock out this Duskmane, and take 2 prizes. So we're in a very, very, very good spot right now. Because what I can also do this coming turn is if he is able to Meteor Tempest and get 220 damage on me, I can just Lele for an Acerola, pick up the Ultra Necrozma, and then have my backup Ultra Necrozma coming in. Actually, what I'd do first, obviously, play the Metal Energy onto the benched Ultra Necrozma, and then double Malamar onto it, then Lele for the Acerola, which would pick up the very damaged Ultra Necrozma in addition to the Metal Energy and the Fighting Fury Belt, and then I'd be able to play the Fighting Fury Belt on the new Ultra Necrozma and knock out the Duskmane, which unfortunately is not what happens. Actually, yeah, there's a Lele, so I think I still would be able to pull this off. Actually, my opponent's just going to be able to knock me out with a GX attack if he chooses to go for that, which, I mean, I can't imagine why you wouldn't in this case, because that would be the knockout on my Ultra Necrozma. So yeah, I mean, he is just going to Sun's Eclipse, knock me out. I mean, that's the right play 100%. And so what I'm going to do, I need the Metal Energy. So let's go ahead and put this thing up. And then I get the Acerola. Oh, I can use the Mount Coronet. Nice. So, I actually goofed right there. With the Mount Coronet, let's go ahead and Psychic Recharge. Actually, do I want to? How do I want to play this? So what I can do is... let's go ahead and grab... how do I want to do this? Let's grab the Ultra Necrozma. I think I might have to Guzma this turn. Yeah, unfortunately, Sky Scorching Light doesn't quite work just yet. We need a couple more prizes between us. So let's play this onto... because, I mean, I can take 2 more prizes off of a Lele. So let's go ahead and Psychic Recharge. And I can either get a prize off the Octillery and Magnemite or a prize off the Lele. The thing is, if I only attach 1 energy to my Ultra Necrozma, I can only take a knockout on either Octillery or Magnemite. But then I can also put a Psychic Energy onto my Dawn Wings. I think I just want to try to play the even prize game and then end my opponent to see if I can get something that I can work with. I do, which is very nice. So let's... Mysterious Treasure... yeah, let's alter the Moon first. Then let's hold off until next turn. If my opponent wants to knock out my benched Ultra Necrozma... yeah, if my opponent wants to knock out my benched Ultra Necrozma, he's going to have a Guzma. So I'm forcing the Guzma off of him. We see the Float Stone, we see the Energy, and the... ooh, man, he is loading up, but he does Sycamore, so that's actually good for me, because even though he will be able to knock out this Ultra Necrozma, I have one that's on the bench ready to go, and unfortunately he does get the Magnezone. I mean, to be fair, it was only a matter of time before he would have been able to get it anyway, so that was just kind of delaying the inevitable. But if I take out the second Duskmane, it's going to really limit... well, I mean, it limits the amount of Duskmanes he has. I mean, odds are he's only playing 2 to 3. If I knock out 2, that means that he only has 1 left, and he needs to draw into that as well as 4 energy in order to be able to take a knockout. So my opponent is down to 2 prizes. That's kind of scary, but ooh, this is nice. So what I can do, I don't even have to Mysterious Treasure for the Lele. I can just grab something else. I think... yeah, let's grab another Ultra Necrozma. Why the heck not? Because I will be able to... will I be able to attach, or did I just... actually, you know what? I decided... I mean, I know what I did. I played it safe, just guaranteeing that I get the knockout. So let's just go ahead and grab a... do I want to enter? I think I want to end, even though my opponent has... even though my opponent has the Octillery, I think I still want to end. Yeah, I think that's fine. Just being able to do this, and then I have... ooh, this has potential. So let's go ahead and Photon Geyser, knock out the Ultra, or the Duskmane, take 2 prizes, and then let's just pray that my opponent doesn't draw into some perfect stuff. Because what I can actually do is, if my opponent manages to attack my Ultra Necrozma, then I will be able to just play down the Metal Energy, double Malamar, and then Acerola. He does get rid of the Altar of the Moon. That's less than ideal, but quite frankly, that is fine with me. And then he's going to Cynthia, so that's okay. I mean, I end him down to 2, and one of them had a Cynthia. I mean, to be fair, he did have an Octillery, so I mean, I kind of knew that was happening anyway. And what is that? It's a Dialga. Okay. That's actually great for me that my opponent had to play down Dialga, because nothing can one-shot this Ultra Necrozma. He does play the Mount Coronet. That's fine. I love that I was actually able to take advantage of his Mount Coronet earlier. That was actually kind of a cool interaction that I was able to use to not only to get my Metal Energy back and then get the free retreat with Altar of the Moon, which I actually don't think I used at all this game. So I don't know, maybe a Mount Coronet is actually something that you can use in this deck and take advantage of. That's actually something I really didn't think about. That'd be kind of cool. My opponent is going to Corona Impact. It's going to do 160, but this is kind of awesome because right now I will be able to... first of all, I want to make sure I do this in the right order. First of all, let's go ahead and double Malamar onto the Ultra Necrozma on my bench, and then play the metal. Well, first of all, I need to make sure, because then once I Acerola, this thing's going to go active, and I really don't want that, and I don't want it active before I double Malamar. But yeah, now what I can do is Acerola up the damaged Necrozma, put up my undamaged, put this one right back down if I want to. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Mount Coronet and the Floatstone off the Octillery. That way he has free retreat with the Mew. But I could Sky Scorching Light. But I think... to be fair, if he had another Remoraid down, or if he had another Magnemite down, if he had something that Sky Scorching Light could have just knocked out, then I would be fine. But now what I can do is, no matter where he retreats this Mew, I will be able to Sky Scorching Light for the Sky Scorching Light GX. Sorry, said it wrong. I will be able to use my GX attack for the knockout on the Mew, no matter where it goes. So unless he is able to knock me out in one hit, which I guess if he manages to get a Duskmane and 4 energy, he wins the game. Yeah, if he gets a Duskmane and 4 energy, he wins the game. He is just going to end me. That's less than ideal, but it's still okay, because as long as I just draw into a Psychic Energy, Lele works too, because I'll be able to grab a Sycamore. But like I said, as long as I drew into a Psychic Energy in one way or another, I would be able to use my GX attack, knock out the Mew, and win the game. So my opponent is going to Ultra Ball. I'm going to grab his last Duskmane, maybe? That has to be his play, because that's the only thing that can knock me out in one hit. And it must be prized. So yeah, we are able to actually take that game. It was a very, very close game, right down to the wire. Had my opponent had been able to power up a 3rd Duskmane in that one turn, then that would have just been game. But I do think that was a little bit of... I do think my opponent would have had to have gotten very lucky in order to be able to pull that off, because he not only would have needed a Duskmane, he also would have needed 4 energy, which is not unheard of. All he needs is Mount Coronet and a Professor's Ladder if you have not discarded all of your energy. But still, pulling that off with N into just a simple an Octillery is normally not enough to draw what you need right at the end. So we are able to pull out that game. That's a great way to end the video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.